You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started again.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? America Off the Rails has been declared a conservatives-only safe zone. Only conservatives allowed from this point forward. Any liberal, socialist, butthurt, hippie, tree huggers, please exit the facility immediately. Again, attention please. America Off the Rails is now designated as a conservative safe zone only. All butthurt, tree hugging, hippie, free to be you and me types exit the facility immediately. Thank you.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election.
Keep on doing what you do, Rick. You're my favorite host.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
Nobody ever proposed evil as such. Neither Hitler nor Lenin nor any other despot you can name ever came forward with a proposal that read, let's create a really oppressive and evil society. Rather, Hitler said, let's take the means necessary to restore our national pride and civic order. And Lenin said, let's take the means necessary to assure a fair distribution of the goods of the world. In short, it is your responsibility, women of the class of 2015, not just to be zealous in the pursuit of your ideals, but to be sure that your ideals are the right ones, not merely in their ends, but in their means. That is perhaps the hardest part of being a good human being. Good intentions are not enough. Being a good person begins with being a wise person. Then, when you follow your conscience, you will be heading in the right direction. Now, this can be very good or very bad advice, depending on who you think you are. Indeed, follow your star if you want to head north, and it's the North Star. But if you want to head north and it's Mars, you had better follow somebody else's star. Indeed, never compromise your principles unless, of course, your principles are Adolf Hitler's. In which case, you would be well advised to compromise them as much as you can. And indeed, to thine own self be true, depending on who you think you are. It is a belief today that seems particularly to beset modern society, that believing deeply in something, following that belief, is the most important thing a person can do. Get out there and picket, or boycott, or electioneer, or whatever. Show yourself to be a, quote, committed person. That is the fashionable phrase. I am here to tell you that it is much less important how committed you are than what you are committed to. If I had to choose, I would always take the less dynamic, indeed even the lazy person who knows what's right, rather than the zealot in the cause of error. He may move slower, but he's headed in the right direction.
All right, folks, good evening. This is Rick Robinson. This is, of course, America Off the Rails. Pardon me, I may sound a little rusty this evening. I've actually been sick and without a voice for about 8 days now. So I've missed a lot, and a lot's been going on, but I have a lot to talk about tonight, and I'm just going to start from the beginning. First of all, I want to mention the recent passing of one Antonin Scalia, because I didn't have a voice during the entire time that was happening. And I also want to chastise the current administration for finding it necessary to decide they don't need to attend the funeral of who was a sitting Supreme Court justice. That is an historical precedent, and it speaks volumes to the mindset of the current administration. Now, why do I bring that up, you might ask? If you remember the beginning of that clip, he talks about some very important things. He talks about Hitler in World War II. Some of you are going to hate me right now, but I'm about to make a comparison you're not going to like. I have been branded a traitor on social media because I will not support Trump. And I will tell you right now tonight why I will not, why I cannot, and why I will never support Donald Trump. Flashback to the beginning of that clip. Actually, you know what? We don't have to flashback, do we? Because I can play it again. Hang on. Let's get that queued back up again, shall we?
Nobody ever proposed evil as such. Neither Hitler nor Lenin nor any other despot you can name ever came forward with a proposal that read, let's create a really oppressive and evil society. Rather, Hitler said, let's take the means necessary to restore our national pride and civic order.
Anybody else notice that? Because, and again, some of you are about to hate me, but most of you that are already supporting this guy already do. It sounds an awful lot like Make America Great Again, doesn't it? Let that sink in for just a moment. Because I've been telling you for years that if this country went dark, when it went dark, we will make Nazi Germany look like a bunch of Girl Scouts. And I'm telling you tonight, we are nearly there. And I'm going to make my case point by point by point. Now, to keep myself from going completely insane, We also have a couple of lighthearted things that we'll be doing during the show this evening. We're going to resurrect the segment that just started right before I fell ill and hadn't been able to do a show. A day in the life of Hillary Server, put together by one Mr. Eric Williams from Barbed Wire Satire. Also, we are going to start running the Book of Beaker segments about once or twice a month. But lightheartedness aside, I have to tell you something. I have been branded a damn traitor because I will not support Donald Trump. So I will tell you this right now today. If the fact that I'm not willing to set aside my principles all for the sake of a win makes me a traitor to this country, then by God, so be it. Because this election is not about who wins and loses. This election is about saving our country. There are so many of you that have lost track of that because you're so angry. And you're so focused on the fact that we've lost election after election after election. You know what? I'm just as angry at the GOP as you are. I'm just as frustrated with the establishment as you are. But I'm not willing to sell out my principles just to put somebody in the White House that has an R beside his name. Donald Trump is not a conservative. Donald Trump has never been a conservative. Donald Trump will never be a conservative. What he is an opportunistic capitalist who is trying to get his hands on the highest office in the land, and it's not going to be for your benefit or for mine, it's going to be for his. And if you are so angry and so self-centered that you can't see that, then I'm afraid I can't help you. But there are plenty of people that hear my voice and read my words on Twitter who I can still help, and that's where my focus is tonight. If you are a diehard Trump supporter and you can honestly look at yourself and listen to what he says and how he says it and say, yeah, that's my guy, I support him. You know what? That's great. But don't you dare tell me that he is something he is not, because he is not a conservative. He has never been a conservative, and I will not bow before you just to put somebody with an R beside their name in the White House. I have held my nose and voted for McCain. I have held my nose and voted for Romney. Both of those men were men of principle. Donald Trump has no principles. He's out for himself, he's out for money, he always has been, and I will no longer hold my nose when I vote. If that in your mind makes me not a conservative, I say the exact same to you. Because I am not the one selling out my principles for the sake of a vote. I started all of this to point out the cult of personality that has become our political system. It has been that way now since the 90s. Over and over and over again, we vote for either name recognition or because somebody's cool. Not for what really matters. Even when we put Bush 41 in the White House, we didn't get everything that we needed to get then. Then we put Clinton in the White House. We damn sure didn't get anything we needed to get then, except for a bunch of scandals that nobody wants to talk about. Then we get Bush 43 in the White House, and halfway through it, he turns into a fascist. And then all of a sudden, everybody falls for a hope and change mantra. And the Democrats start talking about getting tingles up and down their legs. Ladies start talking about how they're not going to have to worry about paying their mortgages anymore, and Obama's going to help them put gas in their gas tank. And we're all making fun of them until now it's our turn, because now we have the bombastic one, the ridiculous, the insane, the one, the only Donald Trump, who is now our front runner for the GOP. And every one of you that used to make fun of Democrats are now sitting around with tingles up your own legs, talking about how he's going to be the next president, and if you don't support him, then by God, you're a traitor to this country. Fine, then I'm a traitor to the country. If not being willing to sell out my principles makes me a traitor, fine, then I'll be a traitor. But I will not be silent. I will not sit down. I will not shut up, and I will not stop pointing out the obvious that this man is not a he's not a conservative. He's not. I will not be silent any longer. I was silent with McCain because there was enough good points there that I could talk myself into pulling the lever. I was silent with Romney because if you actually looked at Romney, he's probably one of the better men on the planet. This is the guy who offended someone so badly that he decided to buy milk for the business that he offended for a year. Nobody knew where it was coming from. He didn't tell anybody about it. He didn't put out a skywriter about it. He didn't tell everybody how huge it was going to be and how great it was. He just did it. Donald Trump doesn't do anything without an entourage. He doesn't do anything without making sure that he gets full credit. He doesn't do anything without making sure that everybody knows exactly who it was and how it got done. And yet half of the things that he touched falls apart. So you tell me. I mean, look, I'll be the first one to tell you, this is not my first rodeo. I've ran a couple of businesses now. They don't always work. But the difference is, I don't borrow tens and tens of millions of dollars or bilk people out of money for schemes and then take it and try to put it into something else and then turn around and let it fold up, roll that into some more money and do it all over again. Have you seen some of the things this guy has done? Have you bothered to look at some of the things that he's done? And you want to tell me that he's a conservative? Fine. Then I guess I'm not. If supporting Donald Trump is the only way to now be considered conservative, then I need to figure out what I am, because that's not conservatism in my eyes. It's not conservatism in my book, and it's never going to be conservatism in my book. Now, you might ask why it is that I'm so worked up about this, because while we are being attacked on this front and being told that now that he is the clear frontrunner, never mind that there's only been 3 primaries and so far he's only won two of them. I'm sorry, a caucus and 2 primaries, and he's only won one of the caucuses and one of the primaries. And now all of a sudden he's the clear frontrunner. Has anybody ever bothered to look at those numbers? Have you guys ever heard of this thing called plurality? Because, yeah, great, he's getting 35% of the Republican vote. That means there's 65 to 70% that don't want to vote for him. Yet, he's the clear frontrunner. This confuses me greatly. What confuses me even more greatly is all of the Trump cheerleaders in social media. That when you say, well, hey, you know, what about when he said he was for socialized medicine? Oh, he never said that. I've played the clip on the show probably 10 times. And yet, I keep being told he never said that. When he told everybody that first he was against the ACA mandate, but now he's kind of okay with it. Yeah, he never said that either. I mean, look, I understand that we have this tendency that once we've made up our mind and we decide to back a guy, we kind of go for it, full bore, no matter what. I did the same thing with McCain. I did the same thing with Romney, because I could still find points that I could believe in that they were talking about. I cannot find one single correlation with Donald Trump. None. Is that because I've changed, or because politics has changed that drastically? I honestly don't know the answer to that question. Because politics is not what it was even when I started the show, and I haven't been doing this show for that long, folks. We're only on year number 4. Compared to some of the folks that have been doing this stuff, I'm still the new kid on the block. I know folks that have been doing shows like Rod Eccles has been doing show now for like 9 years. But even since the time that I finally decided that I had enough and wanted to start, I mean, let's be honest. Anybody that started doing this that doesn't already have a contract and isn't already making a ton of money, we did it because we were going insane sitting on the sidelines. And yet, the more involved I get and the more change I try to make, the harder and harder it seems to be to make the change. And now, the very tools that tell us we're going to be here to help you get a voice. Facebook and Twitter now censor anyone they want to. Now, here's the bad part about those things, folks. They're actually allowed to do those things because the First Amendment doesn't protect you from private businesses censoring your content. It's why when you walk into a mall and they have all these posted rules about you can't wear these clothes and you can't say these words, they can do that because it's private property with public access. First Amendment rights do not technically apply. The sad thing is, when you start using some platforms like Facebook and Twitter, you're technically accessing what is a business model. Therefore, they have the ability to regulate what their content is going to be and how it's going to be used. That doesn't mean, however, that they should put all of the things that they put out, as Twitter has recently done, about how Twitter is a platform designed for free exchange of ideas with no limits. And yet they're beginning to suspend accounts. One very prominent account we're going to talk about right now, and this is from the Federalist, Free Stacey, the Old Regime and the Twitter Revolution. So social media like Twitter allows users to control their own flow of information, but the old regime of gatekeepers is trying to reassert itself. On Friday, Twitter suspended the account of Robert Stacey McCain, a conservative blogger and dogged critic of feminism. For those of you who don't know Robert Stacey McCain, he's actually written a book, and he is one of the most adamant anti-feminist folks around because, let's face it, feminism in this day and age is a bunch of crap. Look, I'm not downing the ones that were in the fight in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. Those ladies were facing true issues. They were having to do things that no woman should ever have to do. They were having to do with men that were nasty to them, that were evil to them, just because they wanted to get the woman to go home and make them a sandwich instead of trying to go to work. And it was crazy. I know people personally that were involved in those situations, in those time frames, and they laugh at the feminists of today. Because they have no concept of what these women actually had to go through and what the feminist movement actually meant at that time. Because it's become nothing but a man-bashing festival. Feminism of today is a joke. And one of the loudest critics of feminism today, thanks to Twitter, has now been silenced. In part because they now have a trust and safety council on Twitter and get this, folks, they appointed Anita Sarkeesian, a feminist known for denouncing sexism in video games, a prominent figure in the recent Gamergate controversy, and a frequent target of criticism from McCain. So it seems for the moment, as soon as Twitter gave Sarkeesian the power to do so, she began blackballing her critics. Way to go, Twitter. Good job. Take a free platform. Look, here's the thing with social media, folks, and here's the thing with the internet that nobody's telling you about. The internet was never designed to be a safe space. The internet was designed so that people could get their ideas out and do it without having to worry about controls like FCC regulations and editors with newspapers that were controlling the stories that you could see. It's your decision what you find on the internet and what you decide to partake in. That's what freedom means. But it also means that you have to be responsible for regulating what it is that you see. That doesn't mean you regulate everyone else. It means, hey, I don't really want to see this, so I'm going to make sure that I can't by using this little block button over here. Or I don't really like this very much, so I'm just going to go, I'm just going to remove this from my feed because that really didn't do much for me. But no, we can't do that because we have this mentality. As soon as anyone gets any prominence, and I say this pretty much with anybody at this point, that all of a sudden you have to start regulating what goes on around you. Not because you should, but because you can. We have this control problem as a species. We always have. Control has to be ours. And the more control you have, the more control you want. And the less control you have, if you had it before, you always try to find a way to get back to it again. And that's exactly what has happened here. The internet became the Wild West of information. Anybody could go in there, be free, and basically carve themselves out their own little niche and do whatever they wanted to do. And if people liked it, they supported it. If they didn't, it dried up and went away. But now, because all of the old guard folks are sitting back with their newspapers and their TV shows and their radio stations, because let's face it, they're changing a lot of the rules there too. Anybody remember Live 365? Yeah, they're gone. You know why they're gone? ASCAP BMI rule changes. They lost their investors because their smaller packages were no longer economically feasible because of changes to ASCAP BMI packaging. Other folks that could keep up are still here, but it's just another way to regulate. Because the old guard folks in radio were starting to feel the pressure of internet broadcasters. Never mind the fact that most of us that are internet broadcasters are killing ourselves to get over onto terrestrial radio because it's still where you get the biggest footprint. Never mind the fact that it could be just like with the whole fossil fuel thing, and somebody that's involved in fossil fuel and making all the money off of fossil fuel could be taking some of that money and investing it in the new stuff to make sure that when the transition happens, you're actually still making the same money you're making now, just from a different source. No, that would make too much sense. Everything has to stay the way it is. We can't have change. Change is bad. Change is terrible. You know, the funny thing about that is, when you talk to most people about conservatives, that's the first thing they think, is conservatives are the ones that don't like change. I have to tell you, conservatives are usually the ones that react the quickest to change. We don't always like it. We like to grumble about it, but we're pretty good at rolling with the flow. We're also usually pretty good at coming up with ways to use the things like Twitter and Facebook. No, we always haven't been, but we're getting there. We're still light years behind the millennials that are not conservative, that most of them aren't conservative, and we're light years behind the Democrats. But we're learning, and that's part of the problem. Because before now, social media was primarily a liberal platform. Conservatives weren't using social media. Not anywhere near as much as the liberals were. We are now. And they don't like it. So now they're finding ways to shut us down, shut us up. Some of us are going away willingly. Some of us are finding other platforms. Others of us, me personally, I'm not going away till they kill my account. It's no different than anything else. I have never in my life backed down from a fight. I'll be damned if I'm going to start now. That goes for Trump. That goes for Twitter. And it really is that simple. So Twitter, I'm going to tell you this. I know lots of folks that have found a creative way to get back at you for your censorship, and I don't think you're going to like it. I'm going to let it be a surprise, though, because it's just starting to happen. But I don't think you're going to like it. But that's the point, folks. We have to make a decision in this country. Are we going to remain free, or are we going to give up our freedom? Because I'm telling you right now, we have come so close to being to the point where we're ready to just give up our freedoms. This is evidence. Look at what's going on with social media. Look at what's happened with Facebook. Look at what's now happening with Twitter. Do you know how many people that I know that basically just left Facebook? I mean, I still use Facebook, I'm not going to lie. But you know what I use it for most of the time now? To keep up with friends and family. Do you know what I build my business through? Twitter. Because it wasn't regulated, it wasn't metered, it wasn't ad-driven, it wasn't censored. It is now. It shouldn't be up to the people that are running Twitter what we as a free society see on the internet. It should not be up to the government what we as a free society see on the internet. But therein lies the rub. Are we still actually a free society? That is my question. For you. If you can look at what is going on around you in the world today, and you can honestly look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, am I free? And the answer to your question is yes, then you have nothing to worry about. But if you're being honest, if you are really looking deep and you're looking at everything that's going on around you and all of the different ways that you are regulated, controlled, monitored, and maintained, then the answer to the question has to be a resounding no. So we have to decide, are we going to be free, or are we going to continue to slip more and more and more into the abyss? Because for the last 8 years, we haven't been slipping into the abyss. Somebody took us and pushed us head first into the damn thing. And there have been so many of us first screaming in 2008 that this was a bad idea. You don't know enough about the guy. You don't know what he's actually going to do, even though he's blatantly telling you exactly what he's going to do, but nobody's listening. And then in 2012, we said, look, you gave him 4 years. Is anything really any better? And most of you said no, and yet you voted for him anyway. Again. Now in 2016, we have control of the Congress again. We had a pretty good shot at putting an actual conservative in the White House. I'm hoping we still do. But everybody's fallen in love with Trump. And Trump, I don't even pretend that you listen to this show, but I want you to understand something, just in case somebody bothers to tell you. I'm not mad at you. I'm not upset with you. I'm not even angry with you. You are doing what you do. You are being who you are. Nobody can blame you for that. But I can blame the people that have been running the GOP for the last 16 years that have created the moment that has spawned you as a political figure. You have no business being a political figure. And I don't say that because I don't like you. I don't say that because I hate you. I say that because it's the truth. I don't know you well enough to like you, hate you, or otherwise. What I do know is I don't like your ideas, or lack thereof. What I do know is I disagree with the few ideas that you've bothered to articulate. Rather poorly, might I add. What I do know is that you are not who I want running the country. But I'm only one man. You seem to have tapped into this deep-seated vein of anger. And it's what everybody's voting for you for. I mean, just, if you don't believe me, folks, look at how, all of you that are listening to my voice right now, you have Twitter accounts. Go find the accounts that are supporting Trump. Go ask them one question about why they support him. They're not going to answer you. They're going to attack you because they don't even know why they support him. All they know is they're mad. And they're not going to take it anymore. And if you get in their way, then you're the enemy. That's what they know. All right, so this rant lasted a lot longer than I expected it to. We're about to have to take a really quick break. But before we do, as promised, I told you I'd lighten it up a little bit here and there when I can. We're going to go to break, but first we're going to run Book of Beaker for the first time on America Off the Rails.
A reading from the Book of Beaker, chapters 4, verses 1 through 5. A Psalm of Lois. Obama is my shepherd. Conservatives I shall taunt. He frees me to persecute his enemies. He leads me before his Department of Justice. My records I burn at your altar. The fifth I doth plead, and they cover me whole. He guides me in paths of hypocrisy for his legacy's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of Congress, I will fear no prosecution for your sycophants.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
Alright folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome to the...
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry, or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Alright folks, we are back, we are live, this is America Off the Rails, I'm your host Rick Robinson, and we are into the last half of the show already. Where, oh where does the time go? Alright, so I'm going to go back to talking about more of the censorship and fascism and everything else, but I want to take a quick break. Gotta give a shout out to some affiliates who have been really patient with me for the last few days. I actually got an email because apparently I was so sick the other day, I even forgot to send one of the affiliates some files, so I wanted to give a shout out to all of you that typically listen on AMFM247.com. I promise we will be back again starting Wednesday. Actually, if you're listening to this right now, it will be Wednesday for you because this is the file that I'm about to send over there just to make sure I don't forget. Also, for those of you that typically tune in on Red State, this was a rerun this past weekend. I do hope that doesn't happen very often, but sadly, I was really sick. The joys of moving out to the country, I guess, because I was really excited because we got away from all the cottonwood trees in the city, and I found out that apparently I'm even more allergic to cedar trees than I am cottonwood trees. So when those really started going nuts, I had to take about 4 different kinds of allergy medicine to finally get it back under control. As you can hear, my voice is not 100%. It does still crack from time to time, and I am sucking on cough drops about like candy. But at this point, I am going to go back to doing what I do and making sure that I have fresh content for you pretty much every night unless something stands in my way. But I just want to thank everybody because there's been some emails that I've gotten, people checking on me. I just want to take a moment again to thank each and every one of you that take time out of your day to listen to the show, whether it's live, whether it's through one of the affiliates, or whether it's through iHeart or any of the other places where you can find the podcast. It means the world to me that you take the time to listen because you have so many choices and so many other ways to be entertained in this day and age, and the fact that you take your time for about an hour a day to hang out with little old me, it still amazes me. So I just want to thank you for that yet again. Also want to give a shout out to our newest sponsor, that is politibrick.org. If you're anything like me, you need one. They actually have a special right now. You can get all 6 of their bricks for $5. Let me tell you a little bit about what those things actually are. They actually look like bricks, hence the bricks, but they have political figures on them. They have one for Sanders, Hillary, Trump, some of the other candidates. The one that kind of threw me off is I think they actually have one for like Che Guevara or something. That one was a little weird to me. But anyway, so if you spend as much time doing the political stuff as I do, then every once in a while you just have this overwhelming urge to throw something at your TV. Kind of like when you were watching the South Carolina primary results the other night. Anybody else with me? Because I literally about threw my remote at my TV. That being said, these folks have saved my life more than once, because now if I want to throw something, I just grab that. It's a nice soft foam brick, and I can throw it at pretty much anything, and it never breaks, but it still makes me feel better. So I strongly encourage you to go look them up. You can find their YouTube channel with the commercials on politibrick.org. You can also find their information on the website using that same name that I just gave you. All right, so we're down to about 20 minutes, folks. And as promised, what we're going to do next, and sadly I didn't have a chance to get it queued up during the breaks, so give me just a second. What we're going to do next, because I still kind of feel like I need to kind of wind down just a little bit. So we're going to see if we can find the email skit that we put together recently. Bear with me for just a second here. And while I'm doing that, talking like an Okie for a moment again. I am actually an Okie though, so I guess it's okay. But while I'm looking for that, I guess something else I wanted to talk about tonight, about this whole censorship thing. Look, I understand that you're not always going to like everything that you hear. And I understand that there are going to be people that annoy the crap out of you. I do fully and completely understand this. What I don't understand is why we as a society have lost the fact to be able to walk away. To just walk away. How can we not walk away? If you don't like something, change the channel. If you don't want to listen to it, turn it off. And that goes for everybody. Liberal, Democrat, Republican, conservative, I don't care. If you don't like something, turn it off. Because here's the thing that nobody wants to talk about. When it comes to censorship and when it comes to railing on folks, both sides do it. Somebody says something you don't like, you start working on getting them blocked. Now, I will admit, there are some folks that are using Twitter right now that I honestly think deserve to be blocked. And I'm sorry, I guess I'm using the wrong word. Blocked is pretty easy. You click a button and all of a sudden you can't see what they're saying anymore. That's the easy one. But there are people who make it their mission in life to get folks removed that are saying things that they don't agree with. And I'm sorry, as much as I disagree with that, I have to call both sides out for it, because we all do it. But we don't realize how bad it is until it's focused on us. Because that's just how we are. And I have to tell you, my biggest lesson on free speech didn't come from reading the Constitution. It didn't come from understanding what the Constitution meant. It came from a liberal friend of mine who helped me start running a Facebook page. The Facebook page that started everything that we do. It started as kind of a tongue-in-cheek Facebook page where we had little cartoon caricatures of ourselves, and we actually made fun of the fact that both of us have physical disabilities. Mine through circumstance, his through birth. And it was Wobbles and Nubs Present My 2 Cents. It started out as a Facebook page. It then morphed into a radio show that eventually became Finding Common Ground and was actually our flagship show on Blog Talk Radio, and the one that got us featured host status over there, which when we first started was a really big deal. But the whole point is, When we first started that page, anytime anybody said anything that irritated the fire out of me, and believe me, there were a lot, because we were running a mixed views page. There wasn't really anything like that around when we started, at least not that we could find. He was the liberal admin, I was the conservative admin, and we even brought in a libertarian and somebody that was a little more conservative than me, somebody that was a little more completely crazy liberal than him. And eventually it turned into just this thing where we all basically posted our own ideas, and we told everybody up front, this is a mixed views page. If you don't like something that somebody else is posting, feel free to blend in with the stuff that you do like. But the thing is, back to what I was talking about, when it first started, anytime anybody attacked me, the first thing I wanted to do was ban them from the page. Well, by God, you're not going to talk that way to me on a page that I'm building. You know who scolded me about free speech when it came to that? Dave. And you know why? Because it's the truth. You cannot filter out everyone that has a different opinion than you. That's part of the problem today. We have gotten so used to on-demand style content and being able to flip a switch and remove an idea that we don't agree with, that it's what everybody expects now. And look, in some ways, that's a really good thing. And if it's you doing it and you personally doing it, then I don't have a problem with it. But when the businesses that open themselves up and say we are here to be a free and open platform for you suddenly decide that they're no longer willing to be a free and open platform for you, that's when I have a problem. All right, so sorry that took a little bit longer than I thought too, but I did finally get the bit pulled up that I was looking for, so at least I think so. So let's go ahead and run that now.
You've got mail.
Dear Rick, please allow me to introduce myself. I've been a fan of your show for quite some time, and I know once I tell you who I am, you're going to find it really hard to believe, but I have something to ask you. I need your help. You wouldn't believe who or what I am, but I'm about to tell you anyway. I'm writing you today because I need you to understand that what I'm being told that I have done is not anything that I've done intentionally, and the news keeps talking very, very badly about me, Rick, and I need you to understand. And right now you're probably really confused, so let me go ahead and tell you who I am. I am Hillary Clinton's server. That's right. I am the thing that everyone talks so badly about in the news and says that I've been used poorly and that I've been doing things that I shouldn't do and somehow it's all my fault. But you have to understand, Rick, I work for the Clintons. I am literally a part of the Clinton machine. No pun intended. Do you understand how hard it is to be a part of that family, Rick? Do you understand the things they've made me do? The things they've made me store? Hey, there's an idea. Maybe while I'm writing you, what I'll do, because everybody talks about these emails, Rick. They talk about these emails, and I don't know. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna tell you. That's what I'll do. I'll show you. So here's some examples of the things that they've made me keep secret, Rick, and I'm tired of keeping secrets. They tell me that I'm doing the right thing, but I'm tired of them being secret, Rick. So here's one of them. And I'm just going to go ahead and give them to you now, Rick. From HDR at ClintonMail.com to Uma Abedin, subject, that's how you do it, ! Hey, girlfriend. Phew. I'm so glad to be done with Iowa. Even if I win the election, I'm never going back to that hellhole again. Be sure to slip some extra foundation cast to Roddy Mook and Brian Fallon. They were such a big help in teaching Bernie how to steal an election. LOL, LOL, LOL. The people of Iowa better hope I don't nuke the whole state for embarrassing me like that with such a close contest. Was really hoping we wouldn't have to cheat with coin tosses, etc. until later in the campaign. By the way, that was a brilliant idea you had, having Debbie Wasserman Schultz handling all the coin flips. Ha! When are these people going to learn it's always heads? Hillary wins. Tails. Hillary wins. That's just the way it is. On to New Hampshire. Hillary. And that's not the worst one. There's more. From HDR Clinton at clintonmail.com. 2. Roddy Mook. Subject. Using Bill. I'm seeing press reports with people saying that Bill looks skinny, gaunt, and sickly at rallies. Guess I haven't noticed much because I never look at him. Also, they say his voice sounds weak. I never talked to him, so I wouldn't know about that either. Can you research illnesses that fit the description? Get back to me on this, and we'll get together with the others to see which illness might get us the most sympathy votes. This could really work for us. Thanks, Hill. I know. I mean, doesn't that just sound completely terrible? I mean, come on, Rick. These are the people that I deal with every day. And you guys wonder, I mean, you think she's bad on the news. Just wait, there's more. I've got one more for you, Rick, but we've got to make it quick. These are only some of the secrets I have locked away in my core. Maybe I'll be able to write you again, but here's the last one for now. From HDR at clintonmail.com to Rachel Maddow. Subject, debate last night. Hi, Rachel. I just wanted to drop you a quick thank you for the softballs you tossed me last night. We vaginas have to stick together, right? Ha ha ha. Could you believe Bernie, though, acting all outraged when I told him in no uncertain terms to stop his smear campaign against me? I am the queen of smear, and I do it better than anybody. Just ask Paula Jones. Anyway, I think we both did a great job, and the hug after the debate was a very, very nice surprise. Most of the few viewers watching last night are too stupid to pick up on you blatantly being in the tank for me anyway. By the way, you smelled fantastic. Keep up the biased work. Yours, Hill. Alright, Rick, I really do have to go. I'll try to write you again soon. And there you have it, folks. Our first installment from our very own Deep Throat, the server of Hillary Clinton. Alright, folks, so there you have it, a day in the life of Hillary's server. That was the inaugural version of that particular new segment that will now start airing every Friday. I have lots of work to do on the other one. I want to give a big shout out to the provider of the satirical emails, one Mr. Eric Williams of barbedwiresatire.com. You may recognize his work from Bloody Marys and Broadsheets right here on Canonian Talk on Sunday mornings. He is the author of the Weekend Update segment, and I've been looking for a way to get him involved in our show now for quite some time, and we came up with this idea, and honestly, I like it. The only thing I wish is that I knew somebody that could do a Hillary voice, because that would be completely awesome to have somebody that could do Hillary's voice actually read the emails for the segment. But for now, you'll have to deal with me doing it as kind of a parody type thing, but as it continues to grow, we may find a way to improve on it. I want to thank everybody for the feedback we've gotten on it. That particular episode that aired with that segment the first time is actually one of the most highly listened to ones we've had in a while, and I've actually gotten some positive feedback from it, so I do want to thank you guys for that. I always feel a little weird trying to do the comedy stuff because I typically try to have such a serious show. But apparently it went over pretty well, so we're going to keep working with it. So make sure you tune in Friday for the newest installment of A Day in the Life of Hillary's server. It'll technically be about a week behind because I didn't have a voice to record it last Friday. But hopefully Eric will get me some more emails this week, and then we can keep that segment rolling. All right, folks, we've actually gotten to the point where we are about at the end of the show. I want to take a moment again to thank everybody for taking the time to listen to America Off the Rails and make it one of the biggest shows around. I mean, I know it may not seem like much, but you have to realize there are times, and this is not to toot my own horn, this is all because of you guys, because I've got people that have asked me if they can run the show because they know that I have a pretty good core group of loyal fans, and they're hoping to bring them over to their places as well. There are times when the show can actually be heard 3, 4, and 5 times a day, and it's not just because I run it over and over and over again. Trust me, I've thought about it, but that's not what we do. The show can be heard on AM/FM 24/7 on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 1 Eastern, which puts it on 8 low-power networks that are actually terrestrial, as well as their internet stream. It is also available on SHR Media every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It is available every Monday through Friday on Leading Edge Radio Network. And it is also available every Sunday on Red State Talk Radio, one of the biggest internet-based talk radio networks around. I have to give a big shout out and a hats off to Primo over there. He runs a really great operation, and I've learned a lot just from being affiliated over there, and it's actually helped me tighten things up quite a bit with both the Spark Radio Network and K98 Talk. So, and then of course the pièce de résistance, WNJC 1360 AM out of Philadelphia. America Off the Rails is now a proud member of the Conservative Commando Radio Network over there, and actually thanks to those folks, I will be on the 2nd through the 5th of March in the DC area for the CPAC convention. So if you happen to be in that area and you want to meet up with the folks that are the Conservative Commando Radio Network, and also some folks from K98 Talk, feel free to come out and meet us, hang out, have a good time. From what I understand, it's about a 3-day long party. I've never actually been. This will be my first time, but I am greatly looking forward to it. And again, I just want to take a moment to say to all of you, and I know I say this a lot, and I don't want you to think that I'm saying it because I have to or because I think it's the right thing to say. I'm saying it because I mean it. I want you guys to understand how important it is to me that you take the time to listen to this show. It means the world to me for each of you that do it every single night and every single day, and whether you're doing it live or Memorex, it really makes no difference to me. The simple fact of the matter is you are listening. So until I see you again, folks, this is America Off the Rails. I am your host, Rick Robinson. We'll be back with you live tomorrow night, God willing, and if I still have a voice. And it has been my pleasure to sit in with you tonight and talk about censorship and the rise of fascism in America, otherwise known as we're all screwed if we don't wake up. Back tomorrow.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, security, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino. And how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.